Hey guys, in the last video you have learned how to install the Kreator firmware on your ESP32 device. If you have completed that process, it means you have successfully programmed your device without writing any line of code yourself. In today's video, we will see how we can configure that particular device. In this process, we will provide all the required details for the device to function correctly. Now, this configuration process is similar to the configuration of a newly bought mobile phone, where you configure it with the network details, with the SIM card information and your mail IDs. To configure the IoT device that we have just programmed, we will be providing the following basic set of information. The first parameter that we need to provide to ESP32 is the name of the device. The second one is the SSID, or the name of the Wi-Fi network to which we want our device to be connected. The third one is the Wi-Fi password. And the fourth one is the time zone value. Now, if you are in India, you have to use a value of 5.5 because the Indian standard time is GMT plus 5:30. For anybody outside India, will have to use the correct value as per their local time zone. The next four parameters that we will use to configure the IoT device will help the device to get connected to the Firebase online platform. For that, we will create and configure a Firebase project, and from the settings of the project, we will get hold of four values that we will then use to configure the device. Now, these four parameters are very important to be configured correctly so that your ESP32 successfully connects to the Firebase and posts all its metadata information to the database. Now, this information, which is going to reside on the Firebase database, can then be accessed remotely and can be used to make device listing page of a web application, and the same concept applies to building home screens of mobile and desktop application as well. Before we proceed, there are two applications that you might want to download. The first one is Postman. We will be using Postman for making REST API requests to configure the device. The second software that we will need to download is Putty. Using Putty, we will create a serial connection with your ESP32 device over the USB cable, and we will be able to see the console messages. With the help of this, we will be able to debug the ESP32 application, and we will also come to know if the device is working as intended. So let's proceed with downloading the Postman application. Now go to your Chrome and search for Postman application. Click on this first link, download it and keep it ready for the next steps. The next application that we have to download is Putty. Search for Putty and you can go to this particular website, and from this location you can download the Putty application and install it. I'm going to show you how to use both of these applications in next few minutes. So let us get started with the configuration process. The device that you see here is already programmed and pre-configured. Now, for the sake of completeness of this video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to format the device and reflash it with the latest binaries and then reconfigure it. So let's get started with the formatting process. Let's wait for the process to get completed. Now I'm going to reflash the binaries. My binaries are already selected and the appropriate addresses are already in place. So I'm just going to click on start. Now we will just wait for this flashing process to get completed, and then we will reboot our device. Now let's close this application and reboot our ESP32 device. Now you can observe that the blue LED light over here is flashing slowly. It means it is currently in the configuration mode. Let me also show you the same information by launching Putty. Now to connect to your ESP32 device using Putty, what you need to do is you need to create a serial session. For that, you select the connection type as serial. Give the correct COM port name, which is COM5 in my case. The speed has to be 115200. If you're not sure about your COM port, you can go to Device Manager and just check under the ports. The one that is listed with the name Silicon Labs CP210 USB to UART, you have to use the same COM port in Putty. So the COM port here is COM5 and the speed is 115200. To prevent making this configuration every time we launch Putty, we will save it. We will save the session. We will give it a name called ESP32 serial and click on save. Now either you can double click on it or click on open to start visualizing the debug messages that are coming from your ESP32. Now if you can observe that currently your ESP32 is in config mode, you can also see that the blue LED light on the ESP32 is flashing slowly. This also signifies that it is in configuration mode. Now, one very important piece of information that I want to tell you is that ESP32 can work in two modes. The first one is access point mode, and the second one is station mode. So when you flash a new device with the binaries, since the device doesn't have any settings available for it to connect successfully to a Wi-Fi network, it automatically gets into the access point mode. Now in the access point mode, the device behaves as a Wi-Fi router and allows your laptop or your mobile phone to connect to it and configure it. Now, as of now, you can see it is currently in access point mode. It means it will be behaving like a Wi-Fi network, and you can see this device as a Wi-Fi network in the Wi-Fi networks list. So over here you can see the network hosted by this device, and the name of this network is Credence. Now once we have connected to this device, you can see that the onboard LED is flashing now with a higher frequency. Now let me also show you what is the IP address of this particular device in this case. Go to command prompt and type a command called ipconfig. Over here you can see the default gateway is 192.168.4.1. Since our laptop is connected to this ESP32 device in access point mode, the laptop's address is 4.2 and the address of the ESP32 device is 192.168.4.1. Now we will be using this particular address for configuring the device. The second mode in which ESP32 can work is station mode. In station mode, the device connects to your provided Wi-Fi network, and then you can actually access all the features of the device, and then you can actually sense and control the actuators that are connected to the device. So during the configuration mode, it behaves as an access point, and now what we will do is we will connect to this particular access point. And now once this happens, you can see that the LED on the blue LED on the ESP32 board will start flashing with a higher frequency. Before we proceed, we have to gather certain parameters and certain values from the Firebase project. For that, we will connect back to our main network, which has internet. And then we will go to Chrome, search for Firebase console. Click on the first one. We can click on go to console. I already have a couple of projects. So what I'm going to do here is I'll create a new project. I'll give it a name called IOT config. Click on continue. You can disable Google Analytics for now. Click on create project. It will take a minute or two for the project to be created on Firebase console. Now press on continue. This will open up your project on the Firebase console that you have just created. We will now go to build. We will go to the authentication section. Click on get started. We will click on email/password authentication mechanism. Please enable this by selecting this particular checkbox and click on save. Now we will go to the users section. We will create a new user. We will give the email as iotuser@gmail.com, which is a dummy user for now. I will use iotuser123 as a simple password. We will copy both this information and keep it safe with us because we are going to use this while configuring the device. So this becomes your FB user email ID, and the next one is FB user password, which we will be needing for configuring our device. Okay, now we haven't added the user. Now click on add user to create this particular new user. Now go to build. Now go to build section again. Click on real-time database. Now click on create database. Since I'm in India, I'm going to use this third server because it's closest to my location. You can select the one which is appropriate for you and then click on next. For now, we'll start in test mode. Now your Firebase database has been created. Now please copy this particular URL, which is the link to your database, and keep it safe with you. Next thing that we have to do is we have to configure the rules for your database. To keep your database secure, please copy the rule from the description section and paste it here. Now this is the rule that should be published here. I will provide this rule in the description section. You can use it from there. Now the rules have been published. We have copied the URL of the database. We have the username and the password. The last thing that we need from Firebase settings is the web API key. Okay, for that you have to go to project overviews. You have to go to project settings. And this is the web API key that you might want to copy it from here. Now we have all the necessary information that we need to configure our ESP32 device with the Firebase information, right? Now let's proceed with the actual configuration process. Now you can still see that the blue light on the board is blinking slowly. It means it's still in configuration mode. Now what we'll do is we'll go back to our Wi-Fi networks list and connect to this device. Let's connect to this. And now you can see the blue light is flashing fast. It means we have connected successfully. Now let's launch Postman. And then the address that you have to give here is, okay, first thing is it has to be post request. The address that you need to paste here is 192.168.4.1/endpoint/config. You click on body, you go to raw, and just paste it here. Now here you can give any name that you want for your device. I'll call it Kreator IOT device. Over here you can give the name of your Wi-Fi network. This is the time zone, which has to be 5.5 for IST. And over here we will provide the Firebase email, the password, the API key, and the database URL. So first one is Firebase email. So you can just go here, copy the email that we have created. You can copy the email address that we have used to create a new user in Firebase. You copy this password and paste it here. Copy this API key and put it here. And the last one is the database URL. Copy this database URL and just paste it here. And then all you need to do is you just click on send. You can see that the device configuration has been successful. Now if you go back to PuTTY, what you can see is it is trying to get connected to the Wi-Fi, and you can see it just got successfully connected and also got an IP address. Now it is looking for the licenses and for the app version support and few other things. Now once this is completed, you can expect to see all the metadata that we have provided over here to be present on your Firebase database also. Let's go and verify that. The project that we just created was IOT config. And now we will go to database. You can see the information is here now. You can see that your API key is this, the device type is MSB, it has an ID, and then it has got a device IP address, your email ID, your password. The name you gave was Kreator IoT device, and this was the password, and this is SID. So whatever information you use for configuring the device, it's all available over here on your Firebase database. Now just for the sake of testing, what we can do is we can delete this information right away. Now once we reboot the device, you can see that the information will reappear. So now over here you can see that the information is once again available for our remote access, and we can utilize this piece of information to create a web application where we can showcase all the devices that are within this particular node, and you can fetch all this information and just represent it the way you want on a web application or on a desktop or a mobile application. Now, there's one last thing that I want you people to be aware of, that if you already have configured your device with SSID and the password, and later on your SSID or the password changes and you want to reconfigure it, then there is also a way to manually force your ESP32 to get into configuration mode. For that, all you have to do is reboot the device twice. For the very first time, you reboot the device and wait for the blue LED to blink fast, and then you reboot it again. Doing that, it will make it enter into the configuration mode. Now let me show you how to do that. Wait for the blue LED. You can see it's blinking fast. Reboot it again. And now you can observe that it is in configuration mode because the LED is blinking at a slow pace. So this is all for this video. If you have any further questions, please post in the comment section, and do subscribe to my channel for more upcoming videos. If you want to personally connect with me and you have any technical queries, you can consider scanning the QR code that has just appeared on the screen, and it will give you access to my WhatsApp group, which I am using to conduct an online IoT training for all the existing software professionals and also for the students. Stay tuned till my next video. Thank you for watching.